the comforting thing about the real grunty fen that you talked about is that I avoided it for 20 years, more than 20 years, because I was afraid to go there, because I'd said such terrible things about it that I didn't dare set foot. And in the end, when we published the second book, The Who's Who, I met, before the book was published, a really charming lady who actually, she came up to me and she said, I never grunty fen, you know. I thought she was pulling my leg. But I sort of shied away. Oh, God, what's she going to say? And she said, it's very amusing, isn't it? Really? Do you think so? She said. And well, anyway, we got on very well. And we ended up launching the book, standing in the road at Grunty Fen. And the people of Grunty Fen, there aren't many of them, and there's a row of 4 or 5 cottages called railway cottages, which are next to where there used to be the railway station. I don't know how long ago, a very long time ago. It was well before the Beijing Act. And they all came out of their houses, and they shook my hand, and they were as nice as pie, and invited me back. So, you know, I mean, what you were saying about Fen people, you know, I mean, I have been as rude about Grunty Fen as it is possible to be about anywhere. And they came and shook my hand and offered me a slice of cake. So, you know what I mean?
Well, my grandparents, you know, we're all back to the Fens. We're all Fen people,
Yeah.
you know, even if it's just Fenage.
I do think there's something international about it.
Yeah.
We invented, because we hoped to get onto American radio, we moved as part of the story to somewhere in America. You know, there is the Okefenokee Swamp.
Yes.
Yes. It's in which state is it?
You should know.
Florida, is it? Florida. We called it the Okefenokee Swamp. And that took off. But that was an example of, you know, we were exploiting the fact that the Americans would understand, because people who live in remote places have some things in common. I think there is the universal Fenman, you know, and you might find him in India or China. There is that something about the way of life that gives a similarity. I don't know, but I'm just theorising there. I've got a sore throat. I've been drinking and talking too much. Drinking too little, I meant to say.
Before I interrupt you one last time, I will say that anybody that's read The Lord of the Rings will know how Tolkien goes on about how the Fens are dark, damp, dark places, and the people that inherit them are best kept away from, you know.
Oh, and I mean, Tolkien is fiction, but if you read people like Daniel Defoe and all the topographical books about England, if you turn to the pages of the Fens in the 18th and 19th century, they get the terrible press. You know, the awful places where dreadful people live.
You read James Wentworth Dyke?
Oh yeah, I knew him a little.
Oh, you did? Yeah. He wrote
See if you can find me another book.
I think, you know, like you talked about the Tolkien thing, basically, I think it's just a reworking of The Wizard of Oz, isn't it?
There's an element of that in it.
I would shoot you down for that.
But it's a quest thing.
It is
a quest story.
Yeah.
I mean, the quest stories go
People
back
talking
to
side.
Oh gosh, yes.
But, yeah. So going back to the people like Dennis and people like that, I think it's in all cultures in our times or whatever, we always want to look for somebody who's doing something we can relate to or find a bit of humour in different things. And I think these characters come along and fill something in part of all our lives where we can look up to them.
Paul, you're right. And deep in us, most of us feel that a lot of the things, thank you, that are going on in our culture and society now, a mutton dressed up as an lamb. You know, we're asked to believe all sorts of wonderful things about technology and human relations and all the wonderful things that are happening in the world. And deep inside us is a very profound doubt. We think that they're not what they're cracked up to be, that people haven't changed, that it probably won't work anyway, it'll come off in your hand, and I'm not spending money on that. You know, that sort of deep grouchiness in all of us about change and development. We believe that the way our parents did it well, we're not going to sacrifice it before we're very convinced it's going to be better. And that is,
I think it's just like Dennis becomes, over a period of time, you'll become a folk hero.
I think it's already.
Somebody, you know, we talk about going back like Herod with the Wake. You probably remembered him, but
I didn't really.
really?
Yes, I knew him well. Herod with the Wake, incidentally, was called Herod with the Wake according to Grunty Fen legend, because he had a very fast punt that he used to cross the fens, and he left a wake behind.
Oh.
I thought you'd have known that.
I do now. I think,
Please forgive me, I'm going to have to go. All my animals will be screaming for food.
Right. Well, make me a Dennis, I'll pay you for it.
Do you need your
You
case?
must be joking.
Make me one.
Sorry, did you need your case? Please, I do.
But the one last thing from me, and then I'll go, I promise. Paul and I were at Castlebills Folk Museum in Cambridge.
Oh, yeah.
We were there on Tuesday for a book launch. What a man had written about Cambridgeshire tales. It was for storytelling, really. And we were there, and it was quite amazing. I had him with me. And there was a folk musician there who, well, we didn't know. He was quite famous, apparently, but we didn't know. All of a sudden, he said, I'm going to do a number now. He says, it's a Dennis and Grundy Fen, a Pete Sayers number. And I yes! He says, yes, that's right. And then the conversation turned to Pete Sayers.
Yeah.
And what was the song his son called?
Ladder to the Moon.
And he did it very well.
Oh, good.
And that was,
Please.
and again, that whole.
You could have told him I own the music rights to that, and I want my money. What?
You know what he'll say.
Thank
I
you.
can
You're
remember
welcome.
if everybody knows, it's a lovely song.
I'm sorry, people. I really must run
I'm very
off.
blessed.
Have a lovely
I'm
afternoon.
serious about the Dennis. I want my Dennis.
We shall see.
But one day I was sitting in the kitchen waiting for Pete to arrive to script a Dennis episode, and he walked in with that instrument, and he sat down and he said, I've written a new song. And he did Ladder to the Moon, and I knew instantly, that was going to be a very popular song. Would you like to ask me some questions like why don't you shut up, or why don't you go away, or isn't there something else to do? Go on.
Are you going to be releasing any more tapes and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, Carol's the lady to ask, but we've got about 20 CDs on the market.
Well, you can see the CDs that we've got. We obviously haven't got all of them here today, but I mean, we can take orders. But that's a brief description of what's on the CDs that we've got. And we've also got a CD, just of the Dennis's songs that we've come across. But we do have this vast archive of tapes that Martin and I are slowly working our way through. But over the past couple of years, obviously, we've been concentrating on the book. But as soon, or not, as people don't concentrate on the book. But yes, we do hope to bring out some more. So you can join our mailing list if you'd like. We've got some contact details here if you'd like to take one of these. We just send you an email out when there's something to say. We're not one of these people that just keep bombarding you. We just send it out when there's something to say. So if you'd like that, please just take one of our little contact details, and there's a phone number on there. You can always ring us up and go, have we got any new Dennis yet? If you don't particularly like email. But we are trying to get through them. Yeah.
The one recording which I haven't been able to discover, and I've looked and looked through and I cannot find it, although it's not properly catalogued, is a recording of an episode called The Loyal and Ancient Order of Goats Annual Dinner. And some people made pirate recordings of it. I know people recorded it, and if any of you or anybody you know did record the episode called The Loyal and Ancient Order of Goats Annual Dinner, I would pay good money for it because we can't find it. It's lost.
I'll tell you what would be a good idea to do sometime, when you've got plenty of time. Is do a Dennis songbook. That would be good.
Will you be printed somewhere?
Yeah.
Do you think so?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think people bought printed music anymore.
I think it'd be good to do that.
Well, it wouldn't be difficult, would it?
What?
It's actually taking the time to get the songs transcribed. That's what takes the time with that. I mean, we have looked into it before,
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
No.
and we've never really had the time to do it. because it's just purely for the fact of getting the songs onto paper in the first place.
Yeah.
Producing a book is
There are
Is it all,
machines that will do it now, aren't there?
Yes.
Aren't there machines that will write music from sound? Isn't that right?
I think there is. Yeah.
There is.
Was it developed in Granny Fens?
There's a
It's
program
developed
called
in
Sibelius.
Granny Fens.
Sibelius. Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, this is the industrial park Granny Fens.
Well, there are only two factories in the industrial park. That's famous. The extrusions, which is a plastics factory, and then there's the fences, which is a patisserie factory. Are you experts on this?
Our local butcher stopped producing brawn during warm weather.
Do you know about
Office
the
brawn, yeah.
Yeah.
Grunty Fen WI, of course? He's
When it
probably
gets off the dogs, you no, well, it's too warm.
Like placing the quiches though.
Oh.
I was trying to figure out, they can buy brawn also buy quiches.
Because the brawn horns of Grunty Fen Women's Institute, what are they famous? They get the pastry horns from the Fences factory because one of the products made at the Fences factory is cream horns. And they switch on the cream horn factory and leave it to make the cream horns overnight, the machinery. And there's one machine makes the horns and another machine makes the cream. And there's a sort of cream gun that fires the cream into the empty horn. And some nights the machine sort of goes a bit rogue and produces thousands and thousands of pastry horns. But the cream gun is just slightly, fires the cream at the wall and misses the horns. So in the morning they've got a great heap of rancid cream and another great heap of empty pastry horns. And they give the empty horns to the WI because there's nothing the factory can do with them. And the WI get as many pig's heads as they can possibly manage and boil them all up in the village hall and fill the horns with brawn, which they then sell to make a profit. And they're so successful that lately they've been ordering a whole container load of pig's heads from Poland, because that's where you can get them cheaply. Which is good. It's the cheapest way to get a lot of pig's heads. But unfortunately, the containers aren't refrigerated. So this does sometimes tempt the brawn, but they're hoping to get refrigerated. See, my head's going. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Chris, do you think you ought to explain about the most dangerous musical instrument in the world?
Oh yes, I haven't explained about all these instruments. Some of them are the real ones, like the banjo, or banjo, as I call it. There is his musical saw, Pete's real musical saw, Dennis's real musical saw, and his real bugle, and the bass drum, because he had a one-man band outfit. But then we have also been producing and discovering the other instruments of Grunty Fen, some of which are literally barbarous, including the world's most dangerous musical instrument, which used to be played by, do you remember Big Enid? Big Enid at Grunty Fen was the big girl who was so tough. She used to make Christmas holly wreaths with her bare hands. And she used to play this instrument, and it's a double bass. You'll have to have a look at it, but it doesn't have normal strings, it has barbed wire. And Enid used to be able to get a tune out of it, because she was so tough. But nobody else has managed to play it lately, have they? But we've been restoring it, and we're hoping we'll find some nice person who will play it. Isn't she being good?
Yeah.
She's so well behaved. I mean, she's normally obstreperous. And I'm not talking to you, am I, Foxy? Well, I've done an awful lot of talking.
Been interesting.
Very good.